Beef saved me from losing my large intestines. But after 300 days of just eating beef, I thought, let's add eggs back in. Big mistake. I had horrific pain, diarrhea, inflamed joints for days. My body went into a full abort mission mode and rejected the eggs. But the weird thing is, it wasn't because of an egg intolerance. Most people on a strict carnivore diet struggle to reintroduce foods back in, and they don't understand why, and I was one of them. Today I'm breaking down exactly what happened, how to fix it, so you can add things back in without destroying your progress. I honestly know how you feel. I went strict carnivore, only ate beef, salt and water. Some people call this the lion diet because I needed to heal my autoimmune disease. After 18 months of being on the carnivore diet, but the last 300 days of just beef, salt and water, I thought I had completely healed my ulcerative colitis. Now, if you're like me, you knew before you started the carnivore diet, you could tolerate eggs. And now that you've been doing it without any, you've been longing to add them back in because they taste beautifully fried in some beef tallow. And not just that, they are filled with amino acids, beautiful fats, and cholesterol to help you feel amazing. But obviously when I did add them back in, it was bad. It was kind of like an instant regret. Have you been experiencing the same things? So have you been adding food in and getting reactions like pain, diarrhea, inflammation? So obviously if it is, then this is going to be making you feel frustrated because you're thinking, well, I've been on carnivore now for absolutely ages. I should be healed. You may also be feeling a little bit confused, and you'll be probably thinking, am I stuck eating beef only for the rest of my life? But guess what? The good news is, no, you're not. But before we fix it, you kind of need to know what's going on inside your body. The real villain in this story is histamine, not the eggs. So what is histamine? So if you imagine histamine is like Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. So he's detected basically that people are going to rob him. So that is like detecting a potential threat or intruder in your body. So say like eggs or maybe aged meats, maybe fermented foods. And instead of addressing the situation calmly, it goes into full defense mode. It lays traps, it drops bricks, paint cans start flying everywhere, and it's absolute chaos. That's basically histamine. It's supposed to protect you from real life threats, but when you're overly sensitive, it reacts really badly, and then the results could cause bloating, headaches, running nose, congestion, fatigue, fast heart rate, anxiety, inflammation. Basically, if food makes you feel like you're being smacked in the face by an iron, histamine might be the culprit. So my experience is I found this out the hard way. So as I said, I was on beef, strict, only beef, water and salt for 300 days. And then I decided, well, I had some quail because I want to add quail into my diet, quail eggs and quail meat. So I went to the shop and bought a dozen. And instead of me just having one or two, I thought, you know what, I want to have a proper, gauge to see how I'm going to react. So I fried up all 12 of them thinking, yeah, I should be okay. Some people say that quail eggs, are better than chicken eggs. Some people can tolerate them more, so I thought, fantastic. 8 or 12, literally, I'd say 10 minutes later, I had headache, fatigue, and a stuffy nose. So I thought, why do I feel like this? It's a bit weird. That's when obviously it goes into full Google searching mode. Well, it's actually ChatGPT now because Google's a load of shit. Then I went into obviously research mode and wondering why this is. And it started saying histamine reaction. But the thing is, things got way worse as time went on. About an hour later, my bowels were in absolute agony. About an hour after that, I had severe diarrhea. The day after, I still had diarrhea. But also my joints were hurting, my fingers were hurting, my wrists were hurting. My elbows were hurting, my knees were hurting, I had inflammation in my whole body. So obviously over the years I've learned about different techniques to try and soothe your bowels and stuff. And one of them is about doing a fast. So I decided to do a 24-hour water fast. So then hopefully anything in my system could get flushed through and hopefully come out. So after the 24 hours, I did actually feel a bit better. My bowels weren't so bad because I weren't pushing anything through it. So it did, by the time I ate the following day, my bowels weren't in so much agony and everything else. And obviously over the 24 hours, I was learning more about the histamine. And everything they were saying made perfect sense. I'd only been eating beef, which is low histamine, for the last 300 days. So now my body was used to only eating beef, so it would only produce the enzymes and everything it needed to break down beef optimally. So basically, why would this happen to people who have eaten beef for a while? So your body produces enzymes like DAOs to break down histamine. But if you've only eaten fresh beef, your DOA production downregulates. So obviously the things that are going to break down the histamine, they're saying, take a rest. You don't need them anymore. So basically it downregulates them and makes them less and pushes them to one side. So when you suddenly eat eggs on a high histamine food, it floods your gut and your body can't handle it, which is definitely what happened. Now, some people can take the DAO supplements to test this. So what you do is, obviously, if you think you're getting a reaction from histamine, get some of them, take a tablet whatever before you eat. And if you don't seem to have as much a reaction or no reaction, you definitely know it's a histamine response. So I know you're probably thinking, well, I don't really want to take DOAs for the rest of my life. So don't worry, you're not stuck doing that, and you will be able to reintroduce food back in. It's just going to take a little bit of time and a step-by-step process, so then you can obviously start tolerating things over the long run. But come on, guys, use your common sense. If you're allergic and you know you're going to be into anaphylactic shock, then don't fucking eat eggs. Don't follow my advice. Like, how stupid can you get? But if you know it's an intolerance, or you know there's a bit of upset, then maybe use these steps to moving forward. Now, you can use this for all sorts of different types of food. If you want to add chicken back in, pork back in, if you want to add seafood back in. As I say, use your common sense. Make sure you are taking notes on everything that you're eating, when you're eating, how much you're eating, see how you feel afterwards. Because it doesn't matter how much I give you step by step, if you're not controlling the narrative afterwards, then you'll do it and think, well, I feel like utter garbage. Yeah, that's because you've been following things blindly. The whole point of this channel is not to follow things blindly. It's supposed to take advice and then start using it on yourself and figuring out how to heal from then. So basically, week 1, you start with 1 yolk. So basically, day 1, you have a quarter of a yolk. So this could be if you wanted to, say, add in a quail egg or a chicken egg. You want quarter of a yolk, raw or cooked, and then monitor it. See how you feel within the next 24 hours. Day 2, half a yolk. Again, if no reaction, thinking fantastic. Day 3, 1 full yolk. If you're thinking after that, oh, I'm a bit of reaction, go back down to half. Don't just keep going. You go back down to half. See if you react again. If you don't, stay at half maybe for a couple of days. Then move up to 1. But if after day 3 you have 1 yolk and you feel fantastic, increase 1 yolk every day. So day 4, you'll have 2 yolks. Day 5, you'll have 3 yolks. Day 6, you'll have 4 yolks. Day 7, you'll have 4 yolks again. And then, obviously, you're thinking, well, I feel good. I feel fantastic, in fact. Just make sure that when you're doing it, you're taking off as much white as possible, because that's where mostly histamine is, where people react. So when you're obviously doing it, take away like as much white as possible. Then you think, basically, you go on to week 2. What I'm putting here is, it says maintain yolk and test whites. So you're eating 4 yolks a day. You'll keep that exactly the same. Then add quarter of an egg white to 1 meal. Now, for me personally, I think you should keep them separate. So say you have your meal in the morning, then maybe a bit of time between, you have the eggs, and then you have a meal at night. Or if you want to do it first thing in the morning, it's entirely to you. You just kind of want an empty stomach. So you keep it like that, and then add quarter of a white in. If you feel like, you know what, that's not reacting, that's not too bad. You gradually increase to 1 full white for the rest of that week. So that rest of that week, you add maybe the half in and think, okay, that's not too bad. I'll leave that for a couple of days. Then you add 3/4 in, think, okay, that's not too bad. I'll leave that for another day. And then you add in a full one. So by the end of the second week, you want 4 yolks and 1 white. And if you don't react, you are doing amazingly. Now your body's starting to think, okay, I'm starting to get used to this food. I can start producing the DAOs, because you obviously want them to come back. You want them up-regulating because they've been down-regulated. So when you move on to week 3 to week 4, so this is over the next course of, obviously, the next 2 weeks, you want to be able to eat 1 whole egg per day. So obviously, this is where you're obviously now having 1 full white per day. So week 4, you should be eating 1 egg per day. So you got from week 2, yeah, that's right. So week 3, you're still eating just 1 whole egg per day with your 4 yolks. And when you come on to week 4, this is where you want to be adding another white into the plan. So obviously week 4, you're starting to think, right, I've gone a whole week now of eating 1 egg white, 4 yolks. Then you start adding 1 in, so then you'll end up with 2 whites and 4 yolks. That's for week 4. And when you go to week 5, see how you react. If you feel like you're gonna have to, you're doing well, but you don't want to go any further, stay at another week of 4 yolks and 2 whites. If you want to like progress a bit quicker, then try and get up to 3 whites, 4 yolks. And then, as I say, you get to week 6. You want to try and get up to, obviously, having 4 full eggs every day. because this is going to help you with the histamine, because obviously you're producing the DOAs. You also help like teaching your bowels to create the enzymes to give you enough to obviously support the eggs. So for me moving forward, I think that is one of the best ways to do it. Now, there is other things. If you have got histamine intolerance, there is other things. So at the minute, I am having a few things added in to help my bowels, because I have been feeling like utter shit. Like my histamine reaction was way worse than any flare-up I've had from my IBD. And I've had some worse IBDs. Now, I didn't have any blood, but the pain was the worst I've ever had. The diarrhea probably wasn't as bad, but the joint pain and everything that came after it and felt like absolute shit for days and days afterwards is probably one of the worst that I've had. Well, to be fair, I've been in hospital a couple times. Maybe it's not as bad as I went in hospital, but when I've been having like mini flare-ups, it's been horrendous. So I have been taking, I'm starting to take, I'm going to bring out another video. So if you want to see that video, then subscribe. It's about obviously what supplements and stuff I'm taking to help with histamine. This is a guide to help you bring foods back in. So there's copper, there is quercetin. I'm just looking at them now. There is sodium ascorbatate. And I think there's one other thing. Anyway, that's in the next video. So basically, stay tuned for that one if you want to know what I'm doing to help with my histamine to reduce it. And I'm also adding eggs back in. I'm also adding bits of chicken back in. I am trying to build a foundation in my bowels so I can eat every single last animal. I don't want to go back to eating a standard diet where you're eating carbs and shit. I want to be able to eat the full spectrum of animal products, and that's from dairy. So if I fancy raw dairy one time, I can eat it with no problem. If I want cheese, if I want chicken, if I want pork, if I want eggs, I can eat anything, because then that's going to give me all the micronutrients I need every single day to make me feel amazing. I'm also going to keep my diet probably about 80% beef, because I know beef is fantastic and it works well for me, and it is one of the most superfoods you can get. But I want to add them other things in so I have more of a micronutrient balance, because I'm going to create another video showing how I have been nutrient deficient because I decided to only eat beef for 300 days. Because I have only eaten generally 2 or 3 packets of minced beef, so I've done it completely fucking wrong. But watch out for that video. As I say, subscribe and hit the bell notification. You'll be able to hit that as well. So, as I said, this will work for all foods and not eggs. So say if you want to add chicken back in, you literally cook up some legs and you have maybe a fork or 2 forkfuls of chicken. See how you react. Then have a little bit more. And then have a little bit more. And then just keep doing that. Before you know it, you'll be able to eat a full chicken and be like, damn, that was good. And have no reactions. What I want to finish with is just basically say, you're not broken. You just need to rebuild your gut's health. So basically you can handle the variety. And that's what we're aiming for here. So don't rush it. Follow the process, and soon you'll be eating all the animal products that you can dream of. Because I dream of drinking raw milk every day, just because it tastes so goddamn good. But if you think eggs messed you up, wait until you hear these 11 industry myths that are ruining your health. Watch this next.